Trump is having his trial. It's a trial. Okay. When you want your 15 minutes of fame, you'd better make sure you know what's in your past. It's a funny thing. Like, I don't know, people think they're going to find some compromising tweets or whatever video of me on the internet. Before I got into the law and the analysis and the political side of things, the embarrassing things you might find of me are me waxing my leg with a drone, or me, eating ram balls, cooking, back in the day. But not everybody, also not everybody has the fear of the camera. Like, not everybody has this little wheel spinning around in their head that if I'm being recorded, how do I want to be acting? The judge in Trump's case clearly wants his 15 minutes of fame. He's so bloody happy to have it. And in case you had any doubts, everybody's heard about the smirk heard around the world right now. Let me just get, where is it? This is the note. Oh, no, did I pull up the window? Megyn Kelly had a good piece about it, but it was just to get the video of this judge. They've allowed cameras into the courtroom, and I have no problem with that. Some people have the tendency of noticing that when you allow the camera into the courtroom, it kind of changes the way people behave. And anybody who had watched the Alex Jones trial would have known that judge in Texas, she knew damn well the cameras were on. And she knew damn well the cameras were on her, and she was yucking it up for the camera, and she loved it. She loved the camera because it was like she was the star. She was the celebrity of this trial. She was in charge. She would reprimand people knowing that she was on camera. She would berate people knowing she was on camera, and she would try to make herself look like the hero in her own story. This judge clearly knows the cameras are on, and I guess allowed them into the courtroom in the New York State case. And you have to see the smirk heard around the world. And
the fix is in here.
Stop it. In as bad as it is, wait until you see some of the video that has been unearthed of the judge giving a speech to some group of journalists 8 years ago. We'll get there. But let us look at the smirk heard around the world.
The fix is in here.
Oh, 100%. That judge, when he realizes that the cameras are on him in the warm-up part of the morning, looked like the senior at his high school yearbook photo. He was so excited. He took off his glasses. He smiled ear to ear, the 1,000-watt. Hi, here I am. I'm the man who's going to ruin Trump. See that lady over there? We're doing it together. And by the way, this is basically unreviewable because no court is going to get into the factual morass that is this case.
Oh, hi.
Been clever enough to do
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm a star of the show.
I mean, he's enjoying it.
The fix is in here.
This is basically.
I just want to turn Megan's volume down here, not because I don't like it, but I want to have my own commentary. The camera goes to him. Hold on, how many cameras are in this courtroom? First of all, I think there's only one. Let's just see here. There's a cameraman and there's a cameraman photographer right there. Man, that's funny. That looks like that is definitely a Canon lens. Looks like maybe a 200 stabilizing. It's amazing. In Canadian courts, or at least in Quebec, you're not allowed taking pictures in the courtroom. They have their section outside where you have your media spot. But apparently the cameras are allowed in. Now, apparently Leticia James was also staring at Trump and making something of an interesting face here. Where was it? Okay, it's too blurry to see here. Look at the judge. This is the judge. This is the judge who's already decided on a motion to dismiss. And wait until you hear him 8 years ago describe the tools he has to override jury verdicts or avoid them altogether, and to impose his own biases, which he recognizes that he has, but we'll get there. Look at his face. Camera's on. Judge is just sitting there doing my work. Oh, hey, cameraman, didn't see you there. Oh, hi. Let me take my glasses off. Here you go. I'm a star. Oh, sorry. I'm the hero. Didn't see you there. Oh my goodness. I want to actually just see what everyone thinks about that judge. Give him the evil eye, Don says, Honor 234. Russia is not trying to take all of Ukraine, says TZ Burton. We're on another topic now. That judge wants to be the center of attention, knows he's the center of attention, and knows all of the tools he has to yield the results that he wants. Seditious judge. I don't know that seditious is the right word. His name is Judge Angoron speech. I'm going to get everybody the 18-minute video. You know what? Forget it. In our locals community, I shared the 18-minute speech that Judge Engeron, or it might have been 26 minutes, that Judge Engeron gave to a group of journalists or journalist students. And I said, community, enjoy it. Let's delve into this and find, what beautiful clips there are that one could, in theory, not hold against the judge, but just use to understand the judge's conduct. And my goodness, did our community, which is above average, pinpoint everything of note. And then I listened to it while I was driving, and I decided to clip some of the highlights myself. Listen. I'll pull up some of the highlights. They're not in chronological order that I know of. But let me see, which one is this one? Let me see what.
Well, even though I'm being taped.
Here we go. Oh, this is it. This is... It's funny. When you have no idea how popular you're going to get, and you have, like the Justine Sacco tweet, off to, her tweet that made her infamous. When you're tweeting to 135 followers on Twitter, you could never anticipate how that tweet is going to be held against you if you get famous later on, or if someone decides to make you famous in the moment. Like a lot of these celebrities who they tweet some really wild shit out like 10 years ago. Then they get famous and like, oh, didn't you tweet about supporting pedophilia back in 2010? It's like, yeah, but that was when I only had 150 followers. This guy is in some journalist, he's in New York or New Jersey, I forget which, talking to a classroom of journalists 10 years ago, 8 years ago, has no idea he's going to be the center of attention in the most pivotal case, which I think is an abuse of justice in the history of America. He has no idea when he says this. It's going to blow your freaking mind.
Now, I'm going to say something controversial, even though I'm being taped. Juries get it wrong a lot.
Oh, yeah.
That's my own opinion. I do only civil trials, personal injury cases, contract disputes.
Juries get it wrong.
But I've had situations where like, oh my heaven's sake, how could they have thought that? Well, I have a tool that I can deal with that.
I've got a
it's
tool.
called jury notwithstanding the verdict, judgment notwithstanding the verdict. I can say there is no possible way that a reasonable jury would have reached that conclusion. And I've done that twice. And once I got reversed, and once I got affirmed.
So I'm 50-50.
That's not bad,
That's not so
considering
bad.
it's sort of controversial to overturn a jury. We love juries, they decide the facts. Like I said, judges don't want to do that. Juries, that's you. Some of you actually have been on juries. And so, by the way, I love being a judge. If you want to go to law school, you can find someone who knows how to reach me. It's a wonderful job. I had one last thing to say about tools.
Yeah, let's hear about the tools.
I get a lot of what I do involves.
Did I tell you that my pet peeve is hearing people's mouths? I mean, it was 26 minutes or however long this interview. It was painful. I don't like ASMR. I find it spooky, and I find accidental ASMR disgusting. And if I do it, someone please tell me. If the mic is so fine-tuned that you can hear me, let me know. But it drives me nuts. But that's my own weakness.
These summary judgment motions I mentioned.
Tools. Summary judgment motions. What other tools do you have?
Am I following the law or am I making law? Okay, I'm following law. I'm an impartial referee.
But
it's hard to factor out my own emotions.
I'm biased.
I have tools.
And I have tools.
Somebody can say, well, Your Honor, you have to throw out this case.
Understand what he's saying here. I have tools to allow me to implement my bias. Someone's going to come to you and say, I want to raise this argument. Yeah, but I want to confirm my bias and I want to get to my decision that I have based on my own. But, so what am I going to do? Oh, you can't make that argument. It's one of my tools.
Because it's just like another case. Well, is it just like another case? What if the defendant was wearing a red sweater instead of a blue sweater? Well, that's an extreme example. That wouldn't distinguish most cases, but
Not that it wouldn't distinguish any case. It wouldn't distinguish most cases if the defendant was wearing a red sweater versus a blue sweater. I could imagine in a gang case, if it's the Bloods versus the Crips, yeah, the color of your sweater might determine the case. But he's even in this idiotic straw man of example, he's not even willing to admit that the color of the sweater is totally irrelevant. In most cases, it wouldn't allow me to distinguish. But if the red sweater is Republican and the blue sweater is a Democrat, well, then boy howdy, can I use the tools that I have at my disposal to get to my foregone conclusion based on my own internal biases.
but there are other facts that do. Maybe the education of somebody who supposedly entered into a contract would decide whether the contract was binding.
Can you believe he said this?
I have a tool that I'll call what I'll call a tool called estoppel.
Estoppel, here's a
Somebody
tool.
makes an argument and I say, you
No,
can't
you
make
can't-
that argument.
hey, is
You
it-
made a different argument 3 months ago. And
Is it if it's Michael Sussman? Oh, okay, you can make that argument. That's fine. Oh, is it Steve Bannon? Well, you can't make that argument. You said something else somewhere a long time ago, but not even necessarily in this particular case. Listen to this.
3 months ago in this case, or even in another case. So I wish you all luck. I'll stand here or around
So I've said way too much, and I'm going to shut my big yap now, but it is too late.
for questions. And again, thanks to the administration for having me.
Done. Can you believe what he just said? Hold on. I'm going to take the window out. I'm not going to close it just yet. I want to see what the chat says here. Someone said, wow, Pyle. How true. And I want to see what Pyle said in the chat, but I don't know who Pyle is. Pyle! Can you believe what the judge said? I'm going to bring it back for a second, and we're just going to flesh through, the essential part of this. It's the beginning and at the end.
Now, I'm going to say something controversial.
It's controversial.
Even though I'm being taped. Juries get it wrong a lot. That's my own opinion. I do.
Juries get it wrong a lot. Your constitutional right to a trial of a jury of your peers. This guy says the Constitution gets it wrong a lot. You're going to get a lot of dumb jury members. How could you have come to that conclusion? But don't worry. I've got a tool. Now, I know of, what is it called? Judgment notwithstanding a verdict, JNOV. And there are times where I'm not going to be totally biased, lacking self-reflection. It was used in the case of Michael Flynn's business partner. I'm not going to remember his last name right now. I know it ends in IAN. Sarkisian. The judgment notwithstanding a verdict was used in that case where the jury found Michael Flynn's business partner guilty of FARA violations, a bunch of crap, where the judge said, look, the jury got it wrong. They don't even understand the laws that they found this guy guilty of. And I'm setting it aside. It's controversial. It's an actual tool. I don't deny it. And there are certain circumstances where one can reasonably understand how it's been used. This guy's done it twice. I don't know if that's a lot or a little for a judge. I don't know what would be the record. But the idea that he says, he comes into it with his bias that juries get it wrong a lot. First of all, even if that were true, that's how the system was set up. Not so that a judge can come in and say, I don't like the Constitution, this constitutional right to a trial, a jury of your peers. Yeah, juries get it wrong a lot, and so I'm going to figure out how to circumvent that when I don't agree with the jury.
Only civil trials, personal injury cases, contract disputes.
Or presidential fraud cases.
I've had situations where
Those stupid people.
Heaven's sake.
Guy can't say, oh my God.
How could they have thought that? Well, I have a tool that I can deal with that. It's called judgment notwithstanding the verdict. I can say there is no possible way that a reasonable jury would have reached that conclusion.
Okay, we've heard this part. There are times for it. The way he says it is almost an admission that he understands that it's a way of bastardizing and circumventing the process. There's times when it's done. Understood. Hold on.
These summary judgment motions I mentioned.
When does he talk about the bias? I want to get to the bias.
All right. Am I following the law or am I making law?
Am I following the law or am I making the law? Can you imagine? This guy is an admitted judicial activist. Am I'm so honest about reflecting on my MO. Am I following the law, or am I being a judge, or am I being a legislator from the bench? One is my job, the other one is not.
Okay, I'm following law. I'm an impartial.
But sometimes I want to get my way.
referee. But it's hard to factor out my own emotions, and I have tools. Somebody can say, well,
It's hard to factor out my own emotion, and I have tools that allow me to come to the verdict of my emotions. There's nothing short of what he's saying right there. But wait, there's more. This was a long speech, and he said a lot. Let me see here. What's the next highlight that I have here? Which one is this? Here, let's see here. Hold on. Same judge.
Do you have any opinion on a judge's absolute immunity, even when he's adverse to the actual law?
Do you have any opinion on judges' absolute immunity, even when it comes to something that's adverse to the law?
Do you have any opinion on a judge's absolute immunity, even when he's adverse to the actual law?
Even when he's adverse to the actual law.
well, we've all made incorrect decisions.
Absolute immunity for judges. What's your opinion, Mr. Judge, who sometimes has your own, opinion and bias, but you have tools to enact that, to circumvent the system, to bastardize the system, to bypass the system, to get to the results that you want. If you're caught, hypothetically ever you abuse of the system and you make the wrong decision, do you believe in absolute immunity? You bet your sweet ass he does.
I can't remember any, but there must have been a few. I'm very biased about that because I am a judge, but yeah, I think we should have absolute immunity.
Yeah, of course. For anything
We're
we
just
do.
doing a job.
We're just doing a job.
Just
doing my job.
The question you asked seemed to be if we make a wrong decision. All right, we're all human. I've made, I think, 5,000 decisions, the last count. Written decisions, not to mention at a trial where you snap decisions. Yeah, we should have absolute immunity. What if we defame somebody? That's how it usually comes up. You call somebody a murderer or a heroin addict, that sort of thing, a pedophile. And if it's done in court, yeah, I think we should have absolute immunity. There are other places, other forums in which this can play out, such as newspapers, editorials, letters.
I don't even know what he means
Please
by
don't
that.
sue me, it'll get dismissed.
Thank you.
Okay.
Gotta
well,
run.
Thanks again and good luck.
Let me get the hell out of here. Oh, holy crab apples. He should be removed from the bench, says Dion71, 1984. Today says, is his job to be a political activist instead of a judge? Any fool can be a judge, apparently. Hold on, I think I've got one more coming from this judge. Let me see here. That was Megyn Kelly. Hold on, let me close this one down. I think we got to this one. The fix is in. Yeah, we saw that one already. Let me pull up the next one here. Oh, yeah. Here we go. What is this? What is this? Another highlight. And I think we're going to be done after this with this.
I had one last thing to say about tools. A lot of what I do involves motions. These summary judgment motions I mentioned. And all right, am I following the law
okay, we
or am
played
I
this one.
making law?
All right, that's the judge in the case that's currently pending, in which this judge said, I've got a tool for those pesky jury verdicts that I just, how could they have come to that decision? It's called the judgment notwithstanding of verdict. Okay, JNOV. Well, it seems in this case, this judge has discovered another tool that allows him to even bypass the possibility of a jury getting it wrong in the first place, and that's called a summary judgment. I mean, he mentioned it there. Deal with lots of motions, summary judgment, et cetera, et cetera. And in this particular case now, he's found one tool that allows him to bypass the risk of having to use another tool to bypass a jury verdict that he might not agree with. Hypothetically, a jury comes in and says, yeah, no, Trump's Mar-a-Lago is not worth $18 million, and anybody who thinks that, how could the stupid jury have done that? Well, if I do a JNOV, a judgment notwithstanding a verdict, and overturn this jury verdict, that'll be a bridge too far. That'll be the third time in my career I've used it. I don't want to be 2 for 3. I don't want them overturning that JNOV. So let me just avoid the possibility at all of having a jury verdict come out and find Trump not guilty, or not civil, but not liable, not guilty of fraud, or not liable for fraud. Let me just avoid that altogether. Let's have Leticia James, who campaigned off persecuting Trump, going back to 2018, 2019. I will become the Attorney General and I will go after Trump. Imagine an Attorney General campaigning off a promise to prosecute a citizen or a company. I mean, I guess there's certain circumstances where someone might like it. I'll go after big tobacco. I'll go after big pharma. I'll go after Donald Trump in New York. Well, that'll get you elected. So you get Leticia James, a partisan political activist hack, as an Attorney General who campaigns off persecuting Trump et al. This is in 2019 after, Trump, well, he's president. I will prosecute a former president, elect me. Gets elected. Prosecutes the most outlandish fraud case imaginable. No victim, no complainant other than the state, on the basis that Trump overvalued his assets for the purposes of procuring loans for business activities. And then comes across a judge who says, okay, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, we're in it together. Here are the charges. This is a civil case for fraud. No victims except for the state of New York, which was defrauded somehow because the bank lent money based on Trump's evaluation of his assets, as if the bank didn't also do a valuation of assets on a man and a company whose assets they were lending against, and also a man who's had some bankruptcies in his history. Yeah, the bank just said, oh, you say it's worth $500 million? We'll take you at your word. Here's the money. Okay. Leticia James prosecutes. This judge says, okay, I have the case. Make a motion to dismiss. I've got tools. By the way, that speech wasn't necessarily only an admission, but was the floor plan. What's the word I'm looking for? The plan of action for anybody else who says, oh, he's got tools to bypass a jury verdict. He's also got tools to bypass a jury. A motion for summary judgment. Leticia James comes in and says, here's a motion for summary judgment. We have no triable issues of fact. So there are no facts to even submit to a jury. Judge, we're in agreement on these facts. Allegedly, one of them was that the property was worth $18 million. This judge said is an undisputed fact for the purposes of a motion, a summary motion. And then the judge says, okay, I grant your summary motion. Fraud. We don't even need to go to a jury anymore. Wow. Amazing. And then you get Leticia James, who's taken this trial to Twitter. She campaigned off prosecuting Trump. Now she's litigating this on Twitter in real time while Trump is in court with this activist judge who admits his own bias and admits that he has the tools to make the object of his own bias come to fruition. This is justice. This is the biggest, most outrageous political persecution in my lifetime. It may not be about locking someone up for a framed murder, but they're not far off. How can property that makes more than $18 million a year only be worth $18 million? Says, oh, well, if you ask the judge, it's because there are, what's the word? Conditions attached to the property. It has to remain a country club. It has to be a heritage property. That actually devalues it. Oh, there is no making sense of it because there is no sense to be made of it. But that's the judge. The judge wanted his 10 minutes of fame. The judge wanted to smile for the cameras. The world is now watching. And the world now knows what a hack activist of a judge is presiding over this trial, granting absurd and obscene motions to a corrupt, biased, partisan activist hack of an attorney general. And, well, hey, what can you do? They went to court. And Otto Warmbier in North Korea also went to court and was found guilty.